No.
Founder syndrome is dangerous. A lot of times the founder is the one that's blocking the growth because it is really hard to keep your hands out of everything you used to have it in when it was small. And even if it gets really big, everything has to go through approval of the CEO or the president or the founder or whatever it is. That is the most dangerous position to stay in. And because I've dealt with it so many times, and I know I'm a control freak too, it has been something that I am very purposefully watching and managing in myself to make sure I don't fall into the same traps, because it's very easy to fall into. I can do it, and I can do it so good because I've had to get so good at all the lanes. To start letting go completely is really hard because no one can do it as good as you because you learned it from the beginning. But trust me.
Yeah.
And again, this isn't just small companies. There are big, I have an interview coming up with a $500 million revenue company that's trying to go to $1 billion. And the person at the top, everything still has to go through them in that big of a company.
Yeah.
It's not just because you're small, you can get stuck in that mindset of if I don't touch it. So that is a dangerous position.
Yeah.
So if you're an entrepreneur and this is your spot and you're the one, get someone to hold you accountable to that, because you don't want to be the reason it blocks. And you may be growth minded and go, but you can still be in the way by putting your hands in too many things.
You want to delegate as much as possible, but you do, like you were saying earlier, you want to have system and process and SOPs that actually details how to do some of those thinking. And I think there is that concept of thinker versus doer, right? There are certain people that are just doers. They only know how to follow instructions, but you also need to have the right balance of thinkers in your organization that can actually think between the lines and actually be able to solve problems. So I think that's also super critical. I'm sure we can talk for hours, and I've certainly enjoyed our conversation. But my final question would be, knowing what you know today, what advice would you give the younger self of Sonya?
I think we all think at some point in our life that we know better. And me and my I know better moments. Anytime I got cocky or anytime I would show off or I thought I knew better is every time I got hurt or in trouble. Listen. I listen now. I have a phrase, even with vendors. If I've done my homework and I believe they're really good, I'll say the phrase, I know what I know my lane, I expect you to know your lane. Now, as soon as you prove you don't know your lane, you're out. But I know what I know and I know what I don't know now. And I did not know that back then. So I would say listen to the people who know better.